The Battery Buzz podcast is brought to you by H.B. Fuller Company. H.B. Fuller is one of the battery industry's leading suppliers of adhesive, encapsulant, coatings, and sealants for the EV and battery industry. Hello, and welcome to Battery Buzz, the show for battery professionals by battery professionals, keeping you connected to what's new with batteries and the people that help build them. Your battery special hosts, myself, Elizabeth Canaz, and Mike Owens, are back for our next episode. Now let's jump in. Thank you for joining us. This week we are welcoming our guest, Frank Petrolli from Plasmatreat. Later in the episode, we will get a chance to interview Frank and learn all about his and Plasmatreat's impact on the battery world. Let's begin with our first segment, What's New with Batteries, where we will discuss some of the most recent news happening in the EV and battery world. So in breaking news, we have some news about Mike Owens, our host. He will be moving on, taking on a new exciting role at H.B. Fuller, and will no longer be hosting our battery podcast. Boo. But I want to thank Mike for all his contributions to this podcast and had a lot of fun creating this with you. And you're always welcome back if you change your mind, of course. Any final words, Mike, you have to say to your viewers?
Yeah, no, it's been fun. It's been short for you guys as viewers, but it's been a long time coming in the production side. So I'm glad that I actually got to be here and be live. So, and I'm also looking forward, when this is like a tremendously successful podcast, to being like a random trivia question about like who was one of the two original hosts of Battery Buzz podcast. So I'll be sitting at bar trivia one day, 10 years down the road, and I'll be an answer to a question. It'll be like Jeopardy. So it'll be great.
Well, that's awesome. Well, thank you, Mike. And we're going to enjoy and have a lot of fun in our last episode together. So
I'm looking forward to it. It's nice sitting on this side.
Yeah. And I'm also excited to introduce Jermaine Salvaraj as our new co-host for the Battery Podcast. Jermaine is our senior technical specialist with H.B. Fuller for the e-power storage market. She has been in the adhesives and sealants world for roughly 7 years across several different industries. She's had a focus on the battery space for the past few years and has since grown a passion for the innovation, the fast-moving and evolving advances in the industry and how it's shaping the future and changing it in real time. So welcome, Jermaine.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited to step into Mike's shoes and just have some fun and learn about this industry and all the great people that are part of it. So I'm excited.
Well,
it's gonna be awesome.
A lot of exciting news happening.
Yeah. So are we going to cover actual news now, or what?
Yeah. I thought that was the news.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah. So anything you guys been hearing about lately going on?
Well, I did. To kind of step into this, I found out. So typically it's interesting because they're rivals, but Nissan and Honda are actually considering a strategic partnership to, I think, collaborate on some of the key componentry for EVs, which is interesting in and of itself, but also I think there's an AI portion to it on the software side. So I think kind of really embracing that is going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, taking on the Teslas and of the world and others.
Yeah. Well, and like especially right, because we're here in the US, right? We think of the big three, but you know, BYD is huge, right? They're the largest auto manufacturer in the world, right? So in the Asia Pacific markets, right? You've got to imagine that they're like got to find a way to compete there. So you know, I think it's like you said, Jermaine, it's interesting, but definitely makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Anything else in the news you guys have been hearing chatter about?
Oh, well, one thing I was reading about today was Chevy Bolts. They're on sale again. So the more price cuts coming. I think I saw they were doing price reductions, and I thought I saw that the Model 3 was on for Tesla was on a discount, right? So I think The volumes of those are going up from what it sounds like, and it's exciting to see the affordability of these vehicles, coming down and down. Right, is one of the main
Yeah.
premises of EV was that less components, less expensive. So them
Right.
realizing that and being able to offer a cheaper price is exciting. It feels like.
Yeah, and it makes it more accessible to the everyday people, So
Right.
I think that's
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
exciting and hopefully with more adoption of the technology. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Frank Petrolli. With over 3 decades of expertise in the realms of robotics, automation, process automation, industrial 3D printing, and the industrial Internet of Things, Frank brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to the role of Vice President of Strategic Market Development at Plasmatreat USA Incorporated. So for the past 2 years, he spearheaded sales and operations from their base in Elgin, Illinois, overseeing a dynamic team dedicated to delivering innovative solutions to their clients. His leadership extends beyond borders and supports global sales and business development teams, fostering industrial network collaboration and creating ecosystems tailored to the needs of their customers in the surface treatment, adhesive, and coating industry. So welcome, Frank. It's so great to have you here today.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. Really appreciate being your guest. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having Plasmatreat. For sure, also to you, Jermaine, and Mike. As I understood today, is the last podcast which you're participating to.
Yeah.
But again, I want to give you my compliments. And just following last Sunday, the Academy Awards, the Oscars, I'm pretty sure that everything what you guys prepared and what's coming in the future, I'm sure you are the guys who deserve getting the Oscar of the adhesives.
Yeah.
So,
Hey,
Hey,
I
I'll
love that.
take it. I actually I
Yeah.
do. I have a trophy right.
there you go.
there you go. Way ahead of you.
She's got like 6 of those.
I
Yeah.
do.
No, it's really very special for us as a company. HB Fuller, we are partnering since a very long time together. I said it also earlier when I met several times, Elizabeth, on different shows, is we see you everywhere. We see you everywhere with our important customers. And it's such a great honor to show also to the public and to the audience what we did already together and what we can do also in the future to improve quality for customers using the several technologies.
Awesome. So can you tell us a little bit about Plasmatreat and what you guys do and how how it all works?
Sure, I can. To keep it a little bit short, Plasmatreat, as you can hear also from my accent, is originally a German company. Our headquarters in Germany, but more important to say is that we are since almost 20 years located in North America. So we have 3 different locations. Historically, we started in Canada. We have in Hayward, California, a location which is mainly focused on R&D. And also, this is the latest news from Plasmatreat. We are close to open or reopen a even bigger facility here in Chicago, Elgin area, where it's not only about having our products available, building customer dedicated products and delivering to the large OEMs and the supply chain. It's also about having more lab space, having the possibility to invite, for example, you with your customers, making common trials, and we are really proud on that.
Well, that's really exciting. We should have had that in our news.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
No,
That's
but
awesome.
I know that's one really cool thing and that we've appreciated with working with you guys in the past is just your capabilities, not just to support your customers with, products and equipment, but also the level of testing and trialing that you guys can do on different stuff, right? It's there's some sticky situations we find ourselves in that surface treatment really helps with adhesion and all that. And so the general support that you guys give in finding that solution is been great for us as a co-supplier for a lot of our customers.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I can say on the testing side, there's been instances where for time sensitive projects, we'll send samples to you and you code them, overnight them, and it's been seamless and it's really helped us with our project. So it's a great partnership.
Yeah, and thank you for confirming that. And I would like even highlight this as a kind of a USP. There's several technologies for surface treatment out in the world. The one thing is always the product. I think we have a very high quality, very reliable, very sustainable product. But even more important is exactly to be close to the customer, being close to partners like HB Fuller. So the one thing is just handing over a device and ask the customer to start testing with it. That's not enough. That's not what we are expecting from us. And quality for us means really to collaborate, sticking together like we're doing here, and as well, for sure, having people there and showing things in reality, having a good documentation, because everything what we are offering, especially to the battery industry, think about it's still a kind of a new technology, and you own an EV card, you want to make sure that we have a high quality. We come back later to thermal runaway and thermal management and all those keywords maybe. So we are delivering a big portion, and you need a good documentation on that as well.
Yeah, that's great. That's really great. Thank you for adding that.
Yeah, well, and I know we got on the subject of surface treatments and Plasmatreat being one of the optimal options, right? But how does your technology? Because we have every time we have a surface treatment requirement, right? There's questions about like, have you tried corona treatment or flame treatment? So how is plasma different? And of course you're going to say, but we know that it's better. But how is that different, and how do they differ as technology?
That's a good question. Thank you, Mike. And I also would like to say, maybe I'm using the wrong English word, but technologies in generally should be something complementary. I think every kind of technology today for surface treatment, in that case, has a right to exist. There's different kind of applications, it's different kind of products you have to treat. But if you're asking that explicit, Corona, for example, at least is as well a plasma solution. There's low pressure plasma, but as the inventor of the open air plasma treatment, so this is what we originally invented more than 25 years ago, this is atmospheric plasma. And that brings everything into a new dimension. While with Corona, you're very much limited on very large parts, very, in brackets, unflexible. Mainly you go with only one part. And you know it yourself, especially in the battery production, you have several sizes and dimensions of products you have to treat. So you have to start bringing the technology into an inline process. Inline process means there, so for those who don't know our open air plasma technology, imagine having a small Coke bottle, putting it upside down. That is like our jet looks like. We call it jet. And we're creating a plasma beam. And this can be really moved into separate corners. Think about you have just to treat the edges, saving energy, not going over the whole surface, which you probably do with a Corona. But I think it's a complementary solution. If we're going into another technology which is used many times for surface treatment, which is the flame, for sure we see our strong advantage by the flame is also very white treatment. But even more, we think that the impact of the temperature with a flame is much higher than with an open air plasma. Open air is also called cold plasma. So the temperature, and in that case, the impact on the material is almost zero.
Wow.
And, it is about lightweight in the battery. So you need to reduce the materials. You need to go with more flat composites. And the thinner you go, the more danger it is if you have a heat impact. This is what we really can completely avoid. With another technology, which is very common in the battery technology for cleaning surfaces, is also the laser. Yeah, laser is something fantastic. I like it. I worked also with laser applications in the past, but mainly laser is a cleaning a surface. And at adhesive specialists, and I think the audience knows it as well, the one thing is cleaning a surface. But what about the activation? The magic happens if on this, let's say, atom layer, you start exciting the material, and we activate with plasma the surface. So this is where it starts, that it's getting a better bond with your adhesion, with any other materials, or especially in composites when you have a material mix. So this is how we see not only a kind of a competitive technology, sometimes you pre-clean when it's a harder, how to say, pollution with a laser, but still for the activation. And that's the magic, in my opinion, which only open air plasma in that level of being flexible in an inline and a fully automated process brings.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. Good point about the laser too, right? Is that you are laser cleaning, right? And we do experience that, right? You have some laser cleaning done, and it's not necessarily going to get to your surface energy that you need, right? It's just
Yes.
making sure that whatever particulate or grease or whatever's on the surface is cleaned, right?
Correct.
And that's big driver between the two. So no,
Yeah.
thank you. That was helpful.
Sure.
The other thing you mentioned, sorry, go ahead, Frank.
Yeah, maybe can I can add one more thing. We're talking about battery. We're talking about sustainable technology. This is going into a new dimension of future driving, but also for sure battery can be used for many other things. But if we want to have a sustainable process, it starts also with a sustainable production. So a flame still generates a high CO2 footprint. A flame needs in the background a big infrastructure which needs frequently to be maintained. You have to bring gas into your facility.
Yeah.
While plasma, open air plasma especially, is something which you build up there where you need it. You plug it and you run it, and you just, by the way, you need compressed air and you need high voltage. So this is how you generate plasma, and you have really a CO2 neutral process. And it starts with that, because the companies which building batteries will be measured also by how is their CO2 footprint. And this is where we really contribute.
Yeah, all you need to do now is have those things run on wind turbines, and you're set.
That's a great point, because I know sustainability is a huge, driving factor and that's why we're going to EVs, because of sustainability. One thing that I was going to say that I thought was interesting that you pointed out was that plasma does not create heat, and that's probably the most ideal solution to clean the battery cells. And I'm sure you're a big player in that market, and that's one of the things that you do for the battery industry. Can you tell us a little more about, how you interact with, different customers, and, where you play in this area?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm a little bit prepared on that. And it is even very challenging. And don't misunderstand, we are really in a lot of applications. So I try to highlight 6 of them.
Oh, wow.
So we started already during the introduction about the importance, talking about quality. And one quality issue, by the way, I believe very much in the battery technology. I already think today it's a very safe technology. So let's say we just can contribute to make it even more safer and also reduce the cost. So thermal management is a very important thing. I think no need to explain. It starts only with wintertime, summertime, how to control this. And you guys especially do a lot with your products to improve this, and working on giving this technology a wider range, right? So this is what we are doing together. So thermal management means that by cleaning and activating the surface before your adhesives, your foams will be applied, we can avoid, by improving the wetting of the surface, that you don't enclose all those bubbles which probably keep the heat.
Yeah.
So this is one of the things what we are doing.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I know that I've worked on applications before with our thermally conductive adhesive on specialty films that have high dielectric strengths, right? And specialty things that are designed specifically for EVs, right? And specifically for like cold plates, right? In their thermal management system, right? Where you're bonding to a a film that doesn't conduct electricity, but also doesn't bond well to many adhesives, right? And so from experience, right, I know that we've had some
Yes.
Plasmatreat work really well for situations like that on cold plates, right?
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for confirming. By the way, this brings me to another thing. This is beside that, we talk still about environmentally friendly processes in the battery manufacturing. And by activating a surface with plasma, we mainly can get rid also of how do you call it, the wet chemicals and primers. So talk about the keyword VOC free. So
yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
yeah, that's what we do. And for that, there's coming as well when we talk about the bond strength, enhancing the adhesive, the mechanical strength itself between the cell spaces and the battery itself. So a real highlight is, in my feeling, we learn beside the range, still many of the car manufacturers reach kind of the end of their capacities. And this is often dedicated to that challenge that they have to storage in between the batteries when they do the electrolyte filling and all those things. And we recognized by this technology of plasma treatment can also significantly improve this kind of faster how do you call it, absorption of the electrolyte, which step by step reduce maybe the whole process from many hours to very few hours. So we are contributing to the scalability. Think about that. And it's not only us, because also your foams, your adhesives are getting improved, new recipes. And in that combination, as Mike and also Jermaine, when you said that we collaborate frequently, we're making tests together, this is the value of let's say we are 1 and 1 equal 3 in that case, having more value for the customers here.
Absolutely.
And well, I shrink it a little bit down again. So electrical insulation is one thing. The wire bonding itself is a super important topic. But we said there's so many different plasma kind of plasmas on the market as well. What makes us really unique as Plasmatreat is that we have introduced to the market also a Plasma Plus application. What does it mean? I showed you the example, like our jet looking like a bottle of Coke. Has additionally, imagine there's a tube going in front of the plasma beam, and we apply a coating into the beam, in that case, anti-corrosion. Again, about quality. So especially the battery case, if it's mounted in the car, at the bottom of the car, it faces to the street. While it's getting better outside, warmer, less wet, but in wintertime, even with the salt on the street, this is really where the corrosion starts. And if we clean and activate and apply anti-corrosion coating, we can really avoid corrosion. We support that the whole box stays proved. And that, by the way, is for all the other components. More electronic is moving because of the battery into the car, typically in casted housings where sensitive electronic is built in before you pot it with your adhesives or you apply your foams. And yeah, so this is one of the major contributions with a very unique technology.
So interesting you said that, because I was just at a customer and they're using bare aluminum and they're having corrosion issues. And we recommended that they reach out to the Plasmatreat representative to do the anti-corrosion on one of their plates in their battery. So, and that I just learned that. I didn't know of this technology that you guys could do this until recently. So there's a real world application where that was needed.
Yes.
And it was in a major OEM. So it was a big deal for them.
Take them and bring them over to Elgin.
Yeah,
so we
definitely.
can even show and operate our technology with our robots. So we have really live demo. It's not a theoretical test. That's really great. But if we really talk about this anti-corrosion, and we are sticking on the battery, but also to keep this kind of battery management alive, the electronic is very important. what many people don't know, even if we put a lot of energy in, we have specific what we call nozzles at the end of the jet where we are conductive free and we can treat even electronics. So we are preparing the electronics and apply coatings. So also we can avoid kind of a delamination because if delamination happens, that again opens potential challenges. And then if your electronic doesn't steer the battery or any sensoric in the right way anymore. So we are a very invisible technology. So like yours, we are somehow disappear in the car. No one sees or smells anything anymore. But I think we make a car driving here.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing, right? Is one of the big selling points of EVs is like low maintenance, right? Is you're not going to have to change out the oil. You're not going to have to any number of things, right? The maintenance is a lot lower, right? So everything you can do, including the corrosion protection, to make it much less I don't want to say invasive, but much less work needing to be done for the consumer, in whatever way, much more robust. That was the word I was thinking of.
Right.
Making everything in the car much more robust is key, right? Because you just want to drive your car. Right? You don't want to worry about anything or having some mechanic, say this part corroded and you need to replace it. So it's huge, right? It's all part of the ecosystem.
Perfect. Yeah. And you give me a very good keyword, Mike, when you talk about maintenance. So the one thing is like assembling a battery, making it proof, having anti-corrosion and all those things on. But we need to look into the future. So already a big challenge is about like how to maintain a battery. So I think if you go 5 years ago, there's a lot of improvement now, but 5 years ago, you put a ton of foams, adhesives, whatever you need, you put in. Today, we are getting more precise because we have this supporting technologies that you just increase the bond strength where you need it. You reduce the amount of material, which is also in the maintenance later creating less waste.
Right. Reduce the amount of material. I'm kidding.
Yeah. I know.
True, right?
This is the right answer.
Yeah. No, it's true. Especially as we go to like cell to underbody and cell to chassis, they're trying to reduce their, the amount of components that they use in there. So your technology is very critical, for those, the trends that are happening.
Right. By the way, we talk mainly about that they can reduce, for example, the amount of aluminum or other polymers because we told you we can build them slimmer because we don't have this heat impact.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's exciting. You guys have any more questions about Plasmatreat? Anything else you want to know?
Yeah, well, I just from a personal side, Frank, what's your favorite part about working in the battery and EV industry, and what about it makes you most excited and excited looking forward to with all this new technology?
Well, like in the introduction, there's not the answer maybe, but like in the introduction, you heard that I worked in a lot of fields like automation, robotics, 3D printing, for example. And I more and more see what this technology is when you work consequently on it, being a technology, an innovative company, that you are part of driving a success. So I would like to bundle it in a longer sentence to say, for me personally, it looks like a once in a lifetime opportunity to be part of this EV battery evolution. So
it's exciting, isn't it?
Isn't it? Yeah. And again, every time we meet, we see meeting our customers, meeting ourselves, having an exchange like today, we see there's something else we did. We didn't think about that earlier. It drives innovation. For many people, this is a big change and they are afraid of the change. I think we here, as we are on the screen, we see the advantage. And so the technology and the innovations, they help to become more sustainable and saving important resources. And I'm not only a father, I'm a grandfather meanwhile, and I think we do something for the next generations. And so I think we're turning the impossible to the possible at the moment, motivating teams to think out of the box. That's very important. We have to take the people with us. You can't do that with any kind of technology, but this is also an emotional technology. And so we learn to be a real driver for the EV battery, but we also working in the infrastructure. It's not the battery itself. Think about the infrastructure, and with what we especially doing, it's a big achievable. How to say? We help that this technology will be achievable from the investment side for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I agree. I mean, I think, just this whole innovation and, EV industry, it's a great place to be, especially for somebody with a personality like me. I don't color inside the lines. So it's great for me to use, my crazy ideas and sometimes they work and sometimes they don't, but it's great. Yeah.
you guys are gonna make me tear up.
I know. Sorry.
Gonna miss it.
Stay a little bit
you're
longer.
bragging. I've they filled my old job yet? No.
So at the moment, it is like that we are finished with the building at the end of this month. We are moving till the end of April. We will have most of the equipment there. So an open house we are planning into the mid of this year. I cannot be more precise, but I think this is where the people maybe can stay tuned. What I can say already that we are doing with the German American Chamber of Commerce an open house on September 4th. This is what you can really communicate. That would be a great topic. And where we are next is, by the way, we will be at the NPE in Orlando, Florida, which is the North American largest plastic show from May 6th till 11th. And for sure, you know the date maybe better than I do, at the battery show. So
yes, we will be there too.
Don't know the date here, but we will be there as well. We have an own booth. We will be even there with the German pavilion. We unfortunately don't be there at the adhesive show, but we also will be there, and you will be seen through some of our partners.
Awesome.
Great.
All right. Well, if you guys have any questions, Frank, we appreciate you joining us for this podcast, and you're more than welcome to join us any other time. So if you want to, so that's all the time that we have for today. So thank you for joining us. Join us next month for another episode of the Battery Buzz podcast. We'll be having another special guest joining us to discuss their take on the battery industry. And if you have any comments or questions on today's discussion, feel free to comment or give us your insights. Please subscribe and like and follow, and check out our electric battery adhesives page on LinkedIn.